so moving on to the Holster Co. Reload Rants here.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this way too much.
Okay, so I
got one too.
I got three.
I got
so
none.
I'll do
we gotta
one.
keep
it's
us small,
okay.
though.
Look, we got a lot to talk about in the 250s.
I have one big one. I have two
boy.
smaller ones. So I'll do my big one.
Justin might
Then
understand
you can
mine.
do you have a rant?
No, I don't have one.
Okay. So I'll do my big one.
I don't think I'm gonna have a lot of rants.
You can do
this year.
yours, and then I'll do my two smaller ones. Okay? So,
All right, let's make
first
it
up,
snappy.
Holster Co. Reload Rant here. We always talk about growing the sport, correct? And we have talked about these people they bring on to interview at the races, correct? A la Haley Deegan this weekend, whatever. So you go back 2 weeks here. We're at San Diego. We have the MotoGP guy, whatever his name is, whatever.
The dude who won for Yamaha.
The dude who won the world fucking title at MotoGP.
A literal badass.
The biggest motorcycle racing series.
And didn't Steve talk about this on his show?
Yes.
People didn't know who he was.
And this is somewhat of a rant. Like, don't get me wrong, I listen to a lot of Steve stuff.
He went up a couple octaves.
I have a lot of respect for what Steve's done.
About, yes.
So Steve gets on and he rants about Dogger was right there. They should have interviewed Dogger. He's a moto guy. Look, motherfucker.
I love Ron Lachine, but
Dogger's awesome. And he has great stories, and everybody has great stories about him, okay?
But they're from the 70s and 80s.
They're from the fucking 80s, asshole.
And this is from an old school guy. They're from the 70s and 80s, and I'm pretty sure we've all heard him at some point.
And this is where I'm going to tie this in and make a nice bow about it. You go back to the Astafin interview about marketing to our fucking selves and not marketing to new outside audiences, okay? I don't need the guys who know who the fuck Dogger is from the 80s to come watch Supercross. They're already there.
Yeah.
They're already there.
Holy shit.
We are here.
Jesus, my ears hurt.
You want to know who's not here?
Yeah.
The 25 million MotoGP fans who know who the fuck, whatever the fuck is, I don't even know who he is, okay? I'm not a MotoGP guy anymore. Used to be. Not so much anymore. Don't care. Sorry, just not enough fucking hours in the day.
Okay, so you're pumped that he's here.
This is just the thing.
Because we talked about the whole with the
He's going to get on his social. He's going to fucking post that, hey, he's at Supercross. The people that follow him, he's got a gazillion fucking followers probably. They're going to go and be like, I don't know what Supercross is. Oh, let me look at, oh man, look at these guys. Oh, I do like motorcycles. Oh man, now we've brought in, let's say he's got 1 million followers. Let's say 10%, go and look it up. Let's say 10% of that are people who have never known what Supercross is. Highly doubtful, but let's just say they do. Now all of a sudden that's 10,000 new eyeballs brought in.
That's why social media.
That's why I don't understand why Honda has not brought Marc Marquez to a race.
Quit fucking marketing to ourselves.
Could you imagine that if Honda brought Marc Marquez with the relationship that he already has with Jet and Hunter?
Yes.
Oh my god, dude! If you get those three on screen together, and you're talking to Marc Marquez, who we all know is a fucking he's an alien.
He's awesome,
but he's also a badass.
Yeah.
Well,
he's also a badass dude on a dirt bike.
I touched his hand, and then I did not wash this hand for 3 weeks.
Honda, bring Marc Marquez to a race, and shit will blow up because he's a personality too. Like the other dude, Aquata, whatever his name is, we don't even know his name, but he's a badass. Yeah, but Marc Marquez though can actually speak English.
Yes,
and he can relate and talk to people.
Yes.
So get those three together. Could you imagine the line that people would be sitting in for autographs for?
But this is the shit that I hate about the sport of just. I mean, you've got Steve. Put Dogger on there. Put Dogger on there. That's marketing for ourselves. And then he's one of them too that fucking goes out there and it's just like, well, the sport's never gonna grow. We were on fucking SNL and Jay Leno and whatever. It's just never gonna grow. Look, of course it's not because you want to put fucking Dogger from the 80s in an interview on the fucking show.
No offense, Steve. Dogger's a badass, but this dude,
fucking guy, is he really this fired up?
No, no, I get it.
Okay, so to branch off that, we're switching gears here.
I do get it. This is not and you're
reload rant.
So that
was a good one. No, I agreed with that one. I really did.
This is just building up on yours.
Yes.
Wiz Khalifa was there, and everybody was shitting on Wiz. And I listen to Wiz's music every fucking day.
Wait, people were shitting on him?
People were like, why the fuck's Wiz Khalifa getting a Troy Lee Designs helmet? Because Troy Lee painted a helmet.
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was who that was.
That was Wiz Khalifa.
I honestly could not figure out who. I thought it was a basketball player.
Well, he's a tall, toned dude. So you wouldn't know.
Dude, that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Oh my god, dude! This is our
and then to branch off on that same weekend, Jet Lawrence and Antisocial Social Club. Do you know what Antisocial Social Club is?
Yes,
no, we talked about this last week.
Huge
Dude, their
clothing
page,
brand.
their clothing brand page is just like Supreme. their Instagram page has 2.5 million people on it.
Yeah.
And all of that clothing sold out.
Yeah.
And the resale value might be big.
But
I'm hoping because I bought some.
I will say though.
I ended up getting some.
How did you get some?
Dude, don't worry about it.
You were on the email list?
Yeah.
I will say this though. It was the A2. Was it A2 or San Diego that everybody was there? All the different people. It was.
I think it was both. Usually you get like A1, San Diego,
so
and
it was A2.
There's a lot.
So A2, whatever race it was.
A2 was that because there was that drummer. And
but this is showing though that it partially is growing though because of all the different people that they had interviewed that were there that you would normally not see 5 years ago at a Supercross race. And this is once again coming from the guy that doesn't give a shit about social media. I just don't understand with all the opportunities that you could bring in all these other people, whether even if it's, MotoGP guys, Formula 1, IndyCar, all these different dudes. We've done the NASCAR thing. I think we've done that too many times. There's too much of a connection there. All these different people, all these people would love to come to a Supercross race. Bring him in. Like I said, I don't understand how Honda has not brought in Marc Marquez yet.
That is interesting.
The fact that him and Jet Lawrence and Hunter have a relationship.
Several things together, too.
Yeah, the whole Red Bull thing where they switch. Yeah. Well, he gave Jet the suit.
Yeah.
Like the custom-made suit that probably cost more than some houses.
10 or 12.
I like the collab stuff. And with the guys like Joe Shimoda and all them, they're all into Nike Dunks and some of the stuff that that generation of people are into.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we're never going to grow. Yeah, I get
This is what I'm talking about with and what Astafin's talking about with the marketing to ourselves and the old school and the media partners here. And here, I'll just go on just that much. The media partners of Supercross and Pro Motocross that we're just going to throw the sport's never going to grow. This is just where we're at. But we're never going to market to anybody else. We're going to keep interviewing the same fucking people for the last
goddamn, we got number plates falling off.
Of the goddamn sport because everybody who's there to watch a Supercross race or watch it on TV, whatever, they're all the people who know who he is.
Well, see,
I don't need another Dogger interview.
Here's the thing, too, as far as, like, if we're talking about this, bringing other people in, and I'm going to put
I'd rather hear about their perspective.
Yeah, dude. The craziness of theirs to compare to this, because they all say the same thing. They're like, yeah, no, we're badasses, but those guys are next level. And when you hear IndyCar dudes go up there and like, yeah, not a chance in hell, you know how I feel about open wheel racing, but I've heard shit. Now, who knows if this is true or not, but I know they have a relationship because they've done a video for Red Bull. There has been talks, and since they're both Dutch, that Hurlings and Red Bull are going to bring Verstappen to a GP this year. The fact that Verstappen, if you can get Max Verstappen, especially if it's a Dutch race, to show up to a GP, and they do the whole Red Bull, because Hurlings and Max did a thing where Max, before he won a world title, drove the Formula 1 car on the beach. I'm sure you guys saw this. Yeah. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
And they're both Dutch and they're buddies. If you can get Verstappen to come to a GP, shit would blow up because that dude, I don't know how many followers he has, but I know it's in the millions of followers.
Dude, here's the thing. Ricardo said on his podcast with Jace, there's a lot of Formula 1 guys that fucking follow Supercross.
Oh, yeah.
And are fans
Ricardo
of Supercross.
Ricardo and Lawrence is, once again, same thing. They're buddies. Yeah, because Hunter was in the Drive to Survive one from last year. Yeah, so. I don't get it, dude. I don't understand with the day and age of social media how these teams, with the connections that they have, seeing how these teams, like I said, Honda with Marquez, I don't get that.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're talking about a dude that is a badass on a dirt bike. So I don't get it.
Okay. That was my big.
No, that was a good one, actually.
Holster Co. Reload Rant.
That was a good one, actually. It makes
my
sense.
rant.
You're up. Holster Co. Reload Rant coming to you from our co-host Cole.
Think I'm an asshole.
Nope. Let's hear it.
This shit really grinds my gears.
Oh boy.
I think there should be like a universal rule on social media for privateers, riders, local A riders. You can't put pro motocross or supercross racer in your bio unless you make a top 40 or a fucking night show.
That's a tricky one there.
That is a tricky one, but that's how I feel. I see some dudes on TikTok. I'm not name dropping shit, but
yeah, I definitely know he's not going to name drop on that.
Well,
do we?
No, it's not even names that we know.
Yeah,
you're scrolling through TikTok and you got these motherfuckers posting videos of them riding, and I'm like,
It reminds me of
Travis Sewell could wax this fucking guy.
Reminds me of the joke of a dude who talks about, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the thing where the girlfriend talks about, yeah, my boyfriend's about to go pro, and it's a video of him on a pit bike,
yeah.
and it's just ripping like a berm or something. You're like, yeah,
I don't know, man. Like, it's cool. Yeah, you got a pro card and stuff, like.
But nowadays, those hands out like water.
But don't be
Look, my rule of thumb for that, if you're not making money doing
what's the universal rule here?
If you're not at least breaking even, that's not your occupation.
I feel like
that's your hobby.
Because also I've known, once again, I'm not going to name drop either, but and if I said the name, you would know who it is.
But there's guys in the past. You don't even have to name drop. You can't even single out people because it's 4 to 5 different people every year.
There's guys that go to every national and have not been within 10 seconds of making the Fast 40. And it's like, look, you have your pro card. You had enough money to make it to all these races. But there is a difference between just because you have your pro card and then being an actual professional. Yeah. And I agree with that. I think that you have to. Supercross is hard because like the difference of making the night show and making the main. There is such a big difference.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're going to do that, if you're talking about just on the outdoor aspect, you have to make the motos. Yeah. You have to make because you showing up and you getting in the LCQ, cool, dude. You made the LCQ. You know how many people have ridden an LCQ at a national?
Yeah. Like, it's a lot. I understand it in a sense, though, because it's like a young kid thing. Because like when I was younger and I was just starting on Instagram, and it may still be up there because I haven't touched my personal Instagram.
Am I muted?
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
It says YouTuber because when I was really getting into that, the social media thing, that was when I was daily vlogging every day. And
it could be a loose terminology.
Yeah. So like
mine says local A rider.
I mean, so I do understand it, but at the same time, now being a little bit older and kind of understanding more how the world works, it's like, all right, dude, if you're not breaking even at it, no. Like, I will now, because you've brought this up, I need to go look at my personal Instagram bio and see if it says it, because if it does still say YouTuber, like I need to pull that off because I'm not breaking even at this yet.
Because
we're getting close.
Because even though it kind of goes back to like the cool kids club joke, but we all know that there's a lot of dudes out there that like if you were having a track walk and you saw X, I'm not gonna name drop, but if you saw person X who's made 95% of the mains, and then you have person Y that shows up that goes to Supercrosses, but has maybe made 3 night shows. Person X, and if they hear person Y say, "Yeah, I'm a professional," they'd be like, "Oh, you're a professional, huh? How many night shows have you made? Oh, you've made 1% of the night shows the races you ever showed up. Doesn't make you a professional."
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It's an accomplishment to have a pro card. Maybe say pro card holder,
but it was a lot harder.
No professional athlete.
It was also a lot harder 10 years ago to go get your pro card than it is now.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I told you guys the story. I sent in some money.
Yeah, you did to try to get it,
just to try and get one.
And this is no disrespect.
Got denied.
And this is no disrespect to anybody that has a pro card. You have done the work. It's an accomplishment. So I'm not dogging on that.
You're 10 times the rider I'll ever be, man. But it's just.
But there is a difference.
Our job is to break this kind of shit down too. And
so no, we're not throwing shade at anybody. We're just. And I agree. I agree with that. That is a thing. We have a lot of those people in Michigan.
There should just be a universal rule, like maybe like tone it back a little bit.
It's all relative, okay? Like yeah, you suck compared to Eli Tomac, but compared to me, you're gonna fucking roll circles around me.
Like a local A rider, like or something. Like I am very confident that I am a pretty good rider around here.
Mm-hmm.
Like perfect example,
go somewhere else. Fuck no.
Perfect example, and it's because we have known this guy for a long time and we're friends with him. He could say at a time he was a professional. Greg Dervage.
Yeah.
Greg's gotten top 20s at a pro national before.
Jeff Walker.
Exactly. Professional. As much as we talk about Jeff has made nationals and did very well last year.
Yep.
You can say you're professional. You've done well.
Yep.
So there is a difference.
Chris Prebula.
Yep. Same thing. Yep. Exactly.
So. Okay, good rant. Okay, so
you like that?
Yeah, that was good.
No, these were good, guys. God, we're stepping our
I'm
going to
get heat from probably local people, but
yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. And this is just my opinion. Last thing I'll say: if you are one of those people that gives you heat, you apparently take issue with that, and maybe you should kind of look at yourself in the mirror. If you're taking issue with that, maybe you got some deep-seated feelings about yourself.
It's a good point.
Because I don't think that. Perfect. We just talked about Jeff. I don't think Jeff would look at this video and go, "Yeah, they're totally talking about me." No, he wouldn't. He would know we're not talking about him.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So couple smaller rants here, and again, these are backed up from last week too, because 2 of these are from last week, and then the one is kind of from this week. Anyway, Holster Co. Reload rant. Can we get a fucking analyst panel for the Triple Crown race? Like, can we get an analyst panel for every round? But like especially the Triple Crown races to kind of break down between it and kind of because when I was watching the Triple Crown at A2, there was a lot of
all the
we'll be right back and
all
fluffers.
The fluff in between.
Like last year, I thought like it was better, and I thought it would be better this year because we had the futures. Like, why do we not have the futures ride 2 motos? and ride between both sets.
I get what you say. Why not fill it with Ricky, James, and Daniel talking?
Did you notice there was no
and then to get the sponsor money?
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Well, I don't notice because I actually fucked up and I thought the race for some reason didn't start till 8:30, and so at 8:30 I turned it on and was like, holy shit, this is the end of Heat 2 for 250s. I'm behind, and I had to rewind, and then I was making up time. But anyway.
It makes me wonder during Outdoors how it used to be when it was first on Peacock, where they never cut away, where they showed like what you couldn't see if you didn't have the package.
Wait, I feel like I did get commercials this week.
See, I didn't get any commercials. I got that whole little thing like when Peacock goes, we'll be back shortly, and then they play like the Peacock background. I had no commercials. It was just that.
I don't know. I don't know about that 100%. I can't remember now.
If it's a money thing, these broadcasters should be smart enough to be like, well, you can sell sponsorship on an analyst panel.
Exactly.
Like, this is brought to you by Dunlop Tires. This is brought to you by Nike.
Instead of Science of Supercross by Kawasaki, why can Kawasaki not sponsor the analyst panel? And again, like regular races, all you need it for is 10-minute segment or 15-minute segment between LCQs and mains to break down both classes. Hell, you could even probably do 20 minutes in there, to be really honest with you. You're still going to get your commercials in. You're going to have the analyst panel. Maybe you only show like the 450 breakdown on terrestrial TV, but for the, all of us app payers who pay, maybe we get the 450 and the 250 thing. Throw us a little bone there, But it's like, in the Triple Crowns there, like I said, I really, really noticed, like, man, I'm staring at this "We'll be right back" screen a lot tonight.
And honestly, if they're cheap and they don't want to even do that, remember how when Peacock first started for Supercross? Because for Outdoors, when they would cut to commercial break, it'd be for the TV.
Yeah.
We would still stay with the action, and you would just hear Weege and GL talking. For Supercross, dude, just go back to, if they're going to be cheap and they don't want to do that, just go back to where they just kept the camera going.
Yeah.
And we're watching track work.
Yeah.
Like,
I like watching track work.
I would much rather watch you backblade the sand corner than let's be right back. And once again, too, with the app thing, dude, the commercials are pointless. I get why you do it for regular TV, but for an app, you plugging one of your shows, I'm already on your app. I already know about The Office.
I don't give a shit.
I already know that The Office is on Peacock. I don't need you to plug the commercial for The Office.
Yep. And actually, this rant kind of just rolls right into what I was going to rant about this week. So Race Day Live. Why the fuck is Race Day Live coming on right into 250A group?
Yeah, it used to be they would start with 250B group.
So all we're seeing now is 250A group.
Let's not show the first practice of Deegan and Hymas and all these hype amateurs.
Exactly. And then we're watching the 250 C and B group and then the A groups, and then we're done. Because we used to watch all of it.
Yeah,
Race Day Live needs work, boys.
The only thing we never used to see was if there was a very first C group, we never would see that. But they would jump right into B. And then you would go B, A, B. If they had C, their bullshit filler for an hour, and then you would see everything.
Like, I really feel like I'm getting shorted on my Race Day Live coverage.
Yeah, because now it's working out to be like 2 hours and 45 minutes outside of the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, why are we jumping right in? I don't really understand why they're doing that, because like it can't be a money thing. We've already seen it for years.
I don't understand it. It's very confusing to me, because even A1, I feel like we watched everything.
Yeah. Another thing, too, that I find funny, and this is for the Outdoors, is why don't we get to see like the LCQs in Outdoors?
I don't get that either. Well, they say it's because it's, camera guys got to have this much time off during.
Yeah, well, I've seen enough camera people that have switched. I don't get it, dude, because it's like the same thing with the LCQs during Supercross. The LCQs as an outdoor national is some of the wildest racing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying you do all of it, because we know that there's more time that goes into outdoor practice than there is Supercross.
Yeah.
But it's like, why don't we have the LCQs? Okay, fine. Show the final A group, and then at least show the LCQs.
I will say that with Outdoors, it's a little bit tougher, because instead of like with Race Day Live, there's only 2 or 3 camera guys there. Yeah. So they can have those 2 or 3 and then have the whole night crew, and it's different. With the Outdoors, you got to have so many dudes.
I just hope they just reinvest in the series, man. It needs to.
You mean the partners?
I hope the partners invest in the series.
To be honest, I don't see it happening. But on a positive note, one thing to note.
But they did have to pay for those holographic things. They did have to pay for...
Yeah, and I heard that was expensive. That's why we just got it this year.
It does make me wonder what the production is going to look like for the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have to step up.
Big positive, though. The LCQ challenge this year that Steve puts on, I hear that we are going to get to see that.
Good, man, because that racing was wild. Although I don't really need to see...
And there's a lot on the line. There's a lot of storylines.
Although I don't need to see Robbie Wageman die again.
Yeah. So anyway,
that was great.
So that's my Race Tech rants. Not Race Tech Rants.
Race Tech Rants.
That's my whole.
We are not.
Wow.
We are not sponsored by Race Tech
with them at all.
See, but that's the kind of
Jesus
influence
Christ.
that Steve has had on all of us.
That's
Like,
my holster. That's my Holster Co. reload rant there.
Yeah.
All of that.
You
so
just, like, bleep that out.
Yeah. So number one.
Listen, okay, so on Twitter, a guy was talking shit like, all you do is copy what Steve says, and I'm like, Steve shares his opinion, and I share my opinion on his opinion. Is that okay?
Yeah. Like he literally did that. He did a fucking wrap-up show until Jamie got hired away to Vital or whatever. So like,
yeah, like we could be Jamie.
And that was, and just to throw this out here, that was really one of the things I pushed when we started this, was a show by fans for fans and talking about all of these podcasts because at that point there wasn't as many as there are now, and I was keeping up with a lot of them, so I knew a lot of the news, and I know a lot of people don't have 8 hours a day where they're in a shop by themselves and all they do is listen to this shit. So I pushed that at the beginning. So anybody who's out there is talking shit about like, oh, all you guys do is just, talk about what other people talk about. Well, that's part of the idea behind the show when we start. Number one, it was guys who were talking about moto anyway, so we were just going to fucking record it. Number two, it was not everybody can listen to 18 hours of podcasts a week.
Yeah.
I can do it
all day.
I was going to say, so I can, and then I can regurgitate some of the main points that I hear, because sometimes they drop, especially like if you listen to Pulp, when you get into the last like hour of the show and they're doing like the tweet section or whatever, sometimes there's some knowledge bombs dropped in there because they'll start ranting over a tweet that somebody asked a question or whatever, and all of a sudden you get something that they weren't necessarily going to talk about in the show. And it's like most of the people, like they go look at clips that they hear are popping off, or they listen to the first, say, like hour or two of the show, but like 5 hours in, they're out type shit. So I don't know, man. If you don't like it, I mean,
speaking of
not
Steve,
for everybody.
Before we get to the 250 recap,
yeah,
did you guys see that he, like, I don't know if it was the last show or 2 shows ago, he started talking crap about one of the bigwig, well, he's not a bigwig, but he's a very well-known guy in the industry on Vital MX, Team Green. He was calling him out on Twitter or whatever, saying that this dude has never anything bad to say about teams and that he just is a suck-up or whatever. And this guy's been on Vital for a very long time, but he has posted knowledge about, I can't think off the top of my head, but knowledge over the last 10 years, at least since I've gone in and out of Vital, where he's posted stuff at hints of shit that like people didn't know. Okay, for example, the Hunter Lawrence thing to Geico. Before that was a known thing that he was coming from Europe.
Some guy on Vital was dropping
But
it.
see, here's the thing. Everybody's always asked him, what's your name? And he won't say his name because he doesn't want to act like he's bigger than he is. So they were like, okay, we don't need to know your name, but what do you do? He's like, oh, I only make some titanium parts for some teams, and I make some chassis stuff or this and that. And nobody could figure that out because there's these guys we just don't know about. But apparently Steve was just like talking crap about this dude for no reason. This guy goes, dude, I don't know. Are you mad at me because I don't talk shit about people? He's like, I don't get it. Why are you mad at me? What did I do? And Steve basically was just mad at him because he says this guy never has anything bad to say about anybody.
Interesting.
The guy's like, I don't understand why you're yelling at me.
Because we are talk shit radio.
And
people.
this is and that right there is one of the reasons why. Just for me, Steve, I can't do it with him. Like when you're attacking people for no reason, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, some of the attacking goes a little bit far, but
yeah. So all right, cool. So Holster Co. Reload Rant